President Biden is facing increasing pressure to declare a national climate emergency as temperatures soar across the U.S. and Europe.
This move would allow him to unlock federal resources to address the issue. The White House says President Biden is not ready to declare the emergency, but he is planning to take some executive actions. Mr. Biden is traveling to a former coal-fired power plant that's now a wind power facility in Massachusetts today to promote his climate action efforts.
CBS News Chief White House correspondent Nancy Cordes joins us now. Hi, Nancy. Great to see you. So what can we expect to hear today?
Well, the president is going to announce some new federal measures to try to boost the clean energy industry. He is going to be announcing that there are going to be new measures to boost U.S. offshore wind. That's why he's going to a new offshore wind facility in Somerset, Massachusetts, that has transitioned from coal to wind. He's also going to be announcing some new FEMA measures to assist communities that are suffering from heat and other climate change related problems. But the fact is that these measures that he's announcing pale in comparison, Tanya and Elaine, to what he really wants to do, which is to pass a package that is $550 billion worth of tax credits and incentives to shift industries and individuals from fossil fuels to renewables, to solar, to nuclear power, to wind power. And that is something that is stalled in the Senate right now because he is missing the support of one key Democrat, and that's Joe Manchin. So I think what we're going to see today is just how limited the president's options are if he can't get all 50 of his Democratic senators on board, because we know he can't get the support of any Republicans.
But Nancy, give us a sense. Can you break down for us what declaring a national climate emergency would actually allow the president to do, and why is he facing increasing pressure now to declare one?
He's facing pressure because last week, Joe Manchin, he's the Democratic senator from West Virginia, big coal state, number 2 coal-producing state in the country, who essentially said he couldn't get behind this $550 billion climate change package after months of negotiations where he had signaled that he was working for a good faith solution. He said that he couldn't support this package right now because of rising inflation. That caused fury to sweep through, particularly the Senate Democratic caucus, and they said, well, if he's not going to do that, then the president has no other choice to announce a climate change-related federal emergency declaration. And what that would enable the federal government to do is to direct more resources to renewable energy and shift the country away from fossil fuels more quickly. It might also enable the administration to block some new oil and gas drilling permits, although that would be likely subject to lawsuits. Think, if you will, about when President Trump was in office and he declared a national emergency at the border, and how that enabled him to direct Pentagon resources and funding to building portions of a wall at the southern border. That's kind of akin to what President Biden would be able to do here. The White House has not taken that off the table. They're very strongly considering it. They say the president is considering do that and could very well do it in the weeks to come, but he's not doing it this week.
It's interesting to hear. I mean, speaking of the Pentagon, yesterday, John Kirby, the NSA spokesman, saying that this really is a national security issue, this issue of climate change.
Absolutely.
We'll see how it develops. Nancy Cordes on the North Lawn of the White House. Nancy, thank you.
You're welcome.